glare. What's up? Day 2 of working on Lisa's truck BB here. Trying to get as much done as we can today. Got the front fenders off of it. Gonna tackle ripping this core support off today. And as a bonus, getting some help today. Have a new friend and a student, Jackson, from Maumee Valley. He's going to be working with me and Lisa, and going to be learning some new skills and some fabrication stuff, and see what goes into basically blowing a perfectly good truck apart and rebuilding it from scratch. So we got Jackson here, and hopefully he'll be a good addition to the garage here for the next, what, 6 weeks?
No,
is that what it is?
more like 2.
Oh, 2. Okay, all right. Well, damn, I thought I had him longer than that. So anyway, we're gonna get busy here and see what we can get accomplished. All right, so we're ready to pull the core support off. We have all of these spot welds have been cut out. See all those down here and across there. Same on the other side. There's a couple extras for the battery tray. And what we used is a proper spot weld cutter. There you go. So now the only thing left is to get the remains of the body bushings off, and then the whole core support will be out. Let's see how she's already all loose.
The other side? You still got more to do on the other side.
Yeah, the other side.
A couple more to do on this side now.
Kind of stuck at the top. It's weird. Didn't quite go all the way through. There we go. There we go. That was a satisfying sound. Oh.
Nice. Oh, there it is. It's off. All the spot welds are on the side, and then the battery tray. There's 5 spot welds right there that holds battery tray in, so we just left the battery tray on the core support. Now I'll remove that and transfer it to the new one. So I didn't even bother to unbolt the body mounts. They were so rusted out, I literally just ripped them right off the chassis. So I have new brackets. I got to cut the rivets off of these, attach the new brackets and the new body bushings and the body bolts and everything. As you can see, it's really not that bad of a process to get this off. Definitely any of the average mechanic could definitely get this ripped off and replaced. So gonna keep plucking away. It's probably the end of the day for this. Tomorrow get out here and start undoing the wire harness, and hopefully get the motor and draw a whole drivetrain out of it. Hopefully tomorrow. Motor transfer case, get the wiring ripped out, and then start on the engine compartment. But I think that's a pretty good start for today. And I also have to show, since the core support that I have is actually a first gen or a second gen, the headlight area is different, so I may be doing some custom modifications to make the headlights mount to it. So we'll show that later though. But anyway, there we go. That's a wrap for today. Well, after much grinding, got the remains of those rusted out body mount brackets off the frame. Got all the rivets drove out. And big shout out to a member on the Bronco pages, Harley, hooked me up with some new brackets. Got them all cleaned up. I'll get some good bolts. We'll bolt those back up. And then from Jeff's Bronco Graveyard up here in Michigan, just right up the road, I got the kit with all the new bolts and bushings and the special little washer things. So I can get the core all back bolted to the truck. So we're good there. Also, in the mail today, I got my little kit from Barnes 4-wheel drive. I got the extra long anti-wrap spring perches, their plates, and some shock tabs for the 8.8 since I'm going to be cutting everything off the Explorer 8.8 starting fresh. So I got those. Hopefully here real quickly I'll have the 8.8 actually installed. And oh yeah, I also got also from Jeff's Bronco Graveyard, I got new poly leaf spring bushings because I'm going to reuse the stock rear leaf springs along with the James Duff add a leaf for the lift. And if there is any additional lift that will be needed, I have the Beltec shackles there, with the 6400s, the popular ones everybody uses. So I will have a couple choices of adjustability there. That'll come in real handy once we add that heavy new 2 bumper and a spare tire carrier hanging off the back with a lot bigger tire than what these came with stock. So I got a little bit of adjustability there to make sure the rear matches the front lift. So moving right along. Also, one more thing while we're at this table, I want to give a shout out to the fine people at James Duff Incorporated. When we were at Silver Lake Sand Dunes for the Bronco takeover, they were kind enough to donate some things for a raffle there. And lo and behold, Lisa just so happened to win the James Duff Bronco2, the hydraulic hood, the hood shock kit they donated. So we have that nice kit that we'll be installing on her truck. So there'll be no prop rod in the way, which I found if you have a lifted Bronco2 and that stupid little hood prop rod there on the driver's side, it can be a real pain in the butt trying to reach that thing. At least it is on my truck. So that'll be super nice, not having to deal with that no more. So thank you, James Duff. Appreciate that. Here we got the new brackets, body bushings, the bolts for the core support, everything back on the truck now. So all I gotta do is drop the core support back on top of it and bolt it up. And we got the 302 back up on the engine stand. Lisa is pulling off the Fox body headers because we're using the James Duff long tube headers on it. And we have to pull all of the front Fox body accessories off the motor to swap it for Explorer. So we're changing the harmonic balancer, timing cover, water pump, all the brackets, power steering pump. So all of that's coming off today. So get her done, lady. All right, today we're working on the motor for a minute. Got the front of the motor, all the Fox body front accessories and timing cover tore back off the motor. See, everything's good new. Just test fit the Explorer timing cover to make sure there are, sometimes with the double roller timing chains, they are thicker. Explorers only had a single roller, so sometimes there's a clearance difference or an interference problem with the camshaft bolt and the backside of the timing cover. I ran into that problem with my 302 and my Bronco. This one is fine, it clears, so no problems there. So we'll get all this cleaned up and get the new timing cover on and get the motor sealed back up real quick. So here's the core support off the 88, and what I did was marked out the part that holds the headlights, and I cut that out. Scrapping all the rest of this, and we're going to go test fit this to the 89 to 90 core support. So here is the 89 to 90 core support. See where the headlight mount obviously is way different. So took some measurements off some of the same holes that are common between both core supports. Took some measurements, laid this out, got our marks on where I'm going to cut this one up at. So this one I'm going to cut right here on both sides. Those will get cut out, and then I'll start tack welding the old ones in. So let's get to that. So no going back now. Got this, both sides chopped off. So I'll go back to my measurements, lay out the old ones in the new core, and tack it in. And there is passenger side all welded in. This metal is super thin, burns through. As low as my welder would go, still blowing holes in it. So many tiny little tack welds trying to stitch this thing together. But there it is, that side's done. So we'll hit his head with some fresh paint and move on. And here's the first test fit. Looks like all the original spot welds lined right back up. Everything sits down on there. Gonna have to do a little bit of prying and pushing to get everything lined up perfectly, but it worked. Second gen core support with on a first gen truck, so I'm happy. Alright, so we're jumping around a little bit. Decided to finish getting the rest of the interior out. Jackson pulled out all the seats and the console. We got the plate off the floor with all the shifters are gone. Pull back the carpet and bam. Yeah, we got some rot over here. So I'll definitely be putting a floor pan on the passenger side. Driver's side looks good. Looks just like a little bit of surface rust. I'll clean that up, paint it, seal it up. We'll be good there. Sounds like we might go with the LMC rubber mat in here, not do carpet, so it's gonna get all the rest of the carpet out of the truck. So getting this apart, I was able to get to the rest of the transfer case bolts, and now transfer case is out, which then leads us to, we are just about ready to bust out the cherry picker. Motor mounts are all unbolted, fuel lines, wire harness, everything. So we're gonna hook up and get this yanked. Well, here we go. Kind of a monumental day here. Motor, transfer case, everything's out. She gutted. So now I can start cleaning up everything, rip out the AC box, get a little better look at the floor pan there. Right at that pinch weld again, just like my truck was. So do a bit of metal repair there. So I think I'm going to pull it out tomorrow and give everything a good scrubbing, clean up everything. This whole corner obviously is always a mess, so we'll get that done. You can, it's kind of laughable. You can see the previous owners had the entire braking system on this truck rebuilt right after they had bought it, and my lord, whoever. They use copper brake lines, which is super nice, but man, the way they routed everything, this line got pinched by the oil filter pulling the motor out. I mean, the copper lines are literally touching and rubbing on everything. So I mean, this thing was a failure waiting to happen down the road. So we'll have to fix all of that. No big deal. So there we go. Very happy. This might definitely concludes today, and I think we're going to wrap up this part of the video series and put a stamp on the end of this and start over on a fresh one now. So here we go.